Hi guys, my name is Bryan Marota, a real estate agent helping homebuyers across Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Riverside County. This video, I'll walk you through the whole car residential purchase agreement, the offer, line by line, so you know exactly what you're signing when we make an offer. This is for buyers. I will explain what each field means for you and what choices I'll recommend. This is just educational, not legal advice. Now let's go from top to bottom. Right here, we write the full legal property address and the date we prepared this offer. We use the exact address as it appears on title when filling this offer out. Now the next section of the offer is the agency relationships. This block shows who represents whom, the seller's broker and the buyer's broker. That's me when I represent you. If one company will represent both sides, that's disclosed here, as well as dual agency. It's all about transparency, so you know who's on your side in the transaction. Now onto the main points of the offer contract. First up is the purchase price. This is the dollar amount you're offering to the seller for the home for you to buy their house. Next item is close of escrow. This is when the title will be officially transferred to you. We can pick a number of days after the acceptance date. Typically, the standard is 30 days. If you want to go aggressive, or you can go aggressive, you could do 21-day escrow. And if you need more time than the standard 30 days, typically it'll be 45 days that you could put on the escrow period. I just want to give a heads up for you guys. This is considering calendar days, guys. So not just business days, weekends are also included. So we'll choose a close of escrow date that best fits your loan timeline and also based on the seller's needs. The next thing in the offer contract is the expiration of offer. Here we set a deadline for the sellers to accept your offer after you sent it out to the seller. If the seller doesn't sign by that time frame, the offer automatically expires. This keeps things moving. Typically it's 3 days standard, but if you want to be very aggressive, then you could, do 2 or 1 day, or maybe more days if that's something you want to consider. Next item is initial deposit amount. This line shows the initial earnest money that you'll put into escrow once your offer is accepted. It's usually wired to the escrow company within a set number of days after the offer is fully executed and accepted. This is typically standard within 3 days after acceptance, but if you guys change it here in the offer contract, then you have to go by according to that time frame. The next item to look at is the loan amount. This is how much you plan to borrow from the lender to buy the property after you do your down payment. Next to that is the type of financing that you'll be doing buying this property. Here we can check the boxes for the financing type that you're going with. We have conventional, FHA, VA, or all cash if you're buying with all cash. The type of loan affects timelines and conditions, so sellers like to know what kind of financing that you'll be doing to buy upfront. The next item is checking the box of seller credit to buyer. This field states any seller credits towards buyer's closing costs or repairs. Seller will credit this money at closing. It reduces the amount of cash that you need to bring up front as a buyer when buying this home. Once you have the sellers cover a portion of your costs, and you could ask that right here, checking this box and putting a dollar amount to how much you would like to get in credits to cover for your closing costs. Next item is seller payment to compensate buyer's broker. In the offer, we can request for the sellers to pay for the buyer's broker's compensation or commission, so that you, the buyer, don't have to come out of pocket in paying for the buyer's broker's commission. I'll always be clear upfront with you on my compensation arrangement. You will know what the compensation is looking like before you even draft up an offer. Next up is verification of all cash. If you're offering all cash in your offer, then you will have to attach a proof of funds showing that you have enough cash in reserves in purchasing this property in your offer. Next up is verification of down payment. This confirms the source or amount for your down payment. So the seller would like to see proof of funds of your down payment funds attached with your offer. Next up is verification of loan application. So when you're making an offer and sending out your offer, you're not only filling out this document, but you'll also be attaching your loan pre-approval letter or a fully underwritten pre-approval letter, either or, and you'll be attaching that with the offer alongside your verification of funds for your down payment or all cash if you're doing all cash. Now on to the main part, contingencies. Contingencies are your protection and gives you the right to cancel as a buyer, guys, and get your deposit back. In case something comes up during the transaction with the inspection, the appraisal, or if for whatever reason you can't get pre-approved for the transaction, then you have the right to cancel for that said contingency and get your money deposit back. The first contingency you have is the loan contingency. This contingency gives you time to get a loan approval for your financing to buy this property. If your financing falls through during this escrow period, you usually have the right to cancel and get your deposit back per this loan contingency. The next contingency is the appraisal contingency. This protects you if the property doesn't appraise at the purchase price in your offer. If the appraisal is low, we can renegotiate with the seller to go down on the price so that the bank will finance the purchase, or you can bring more cash up front to whatever the bank is financing, and then whatever's left over you could bring cash up front as a buyer. And if we can't come to a term with the seller and buyer to an agreement, then you have the right to cancel and get your deposit back according to the appraisal contingency. The next set of contingencies are all bundled in one, the inspection contingency. So the first item we have here is the physical inspection aspect. We got the investigation of property contingency. This is your physical inspection, guys. Typically, standard is 17 days, but you can lower it if you want to go quicker and show the seller that you're more willing and motivated to buy this home with minimum inspections. But this gives you time to hire an inspector in that time frame and decide if the property's condition is acceptable for you, or you can request for repairs or credits during this inspection phase. And if we can't come to an agreement, then you have the right to cancel and get your deposit back according to this physical inspection contingency. The next item is the informational access to property. This just allows inspectors, appraisers to access the property during the inspection period. We'll coordinate times and respect the seller's schedule, so just leave it standard if you can. Next item is the insurance. This is reference to insurance considerations, like whether the buyer must obtain homeowner's insurance by a certain date. You could leave this standard. It's rare when someone wanted to make changes, but typically it's just standard. Next item is review of seller documents. This gives you time to review seller provided documents such as seller disclosures, repair receipts, and permits if any, and anything material to the property. If anything comes up in the seller documents that you don't like and prevents you from moving forward with buying the house, then you have the right to cancel under this contingency of reviewing of seller documents. Next item is the preliminary title report. This contingency allows you to review of the preliminary title report to ensure that there are no title defects that would prevent a sale, such as liens, easements, etc. Next item is common interest disclosures. If the property is located in an HOA community, then this allows you to review the HOA documents and rules before moving forward with the transaction. The next item is review of leased or liened items. This just covers any leased equipment such as solar or items with liens. You get to review the lease agreement or the loan payoff info so you know what remains with the home when buying this house. If something comes up that you're not happy with and you don't want to move forward with, then you have the right to cancel and get your deposit back under the review of leased or lien items contingency. The next item is sale of buyer's property contingency. If your offer is dependent on you selling your current home and using the funds proceeds to buy this property that you're making an offer on, then you would want to check off this box and add this contingency in your offer. This just protects you in the case that if your home doesn't sell, then you have the right to cancel and get your deposit back, because you can't buy this property without the funds from selling your home. So that is the reason for using this contingency if you are selling your house to buy the property. Next up is possession. Time of possession. This just states when you'll receive possession or keys to the property. This is usually at the close of escrow, but it can be negotiated to be for early or delayed possession. The next item is seller occupied or vacant units. This just indicates whether the seller will be occupying the property up to closing time, or if the home is vacant, if it's already vacant. If it's otherwise, if the seller is going to be occupying the home even after close of escrow, then we'll check off one of these boxes based on how many days, and we'll may include a rent back or a possession agreement if needed. The next item is occupied units by tenants or anyone other than the seller. If you're buying a property where it's not the seller living in the property, it's tenant occupied, then we would check off this box, and you'll be making an offer knowing this disclosure up front that there is a tenant on this property. The next section of the offer contract is items included and excluded. Here is where we list and check off any boxes that you see at the house that you would like to stay in the property. Checking it off here in the offer up front will, prevent any confusion and kind of set, the standard from the start. So check off any boxes, personal property, anything that you see at the house that you like and would like to stay. Check it off on the box, add it here, include it, and then there will be no confusion. If the seller is not open to providing that item, then he'll just counter you saying everything's accepted besides including those items with the property. Now, this section of the offer contract, guys, is the allocation of costs. Who pays for what? Most of these items are paid by the sellers, but just let me go item by item with you guys just so you have an understanding. The first item here is natural hazard zone disclosure. This just confirms that the seller has provided the natural hazard disclosure form, which tells you if the property is in a flood, fire, earthquake, fall, or hazard zone. Typically, the seller pays for this during escrow and provides those disclosures to us during escrow, and you'll be reviewing those disclosures if that's something you would like to move forward with. Next item I'm looking at, guys, is on Q3, where there's a little line there, blank slate, and it says report next to it, so you could put, type in and report. Right here, guys, this is where you could complete any reports like the pest report or roof inspection report. You could let it be known up front, so you could fill out termite report, and if you're going to pay for it, you could check off the box buyer, or you can even request sometimes in your offer for the termite report to be paid for by the seller, roof report, anything. So any inspections that you would like to do, any additional inspections, you would lay it out right there, and you would check off the box if you were to buy it, or if you would request the seller to pay for it. Next item is smoke alarms, CO detectors, and water heater bracing. This is typically paid by the seller. This just provides that, they'll provide that once you're buying the property, and that'll be the seller's expense if anything is missing. Next item is government required point of sale inspections and reports, usually paid for by the seller. Next item, government required point of sale corrective remedial actions, typically paid by the seller. Next item is escrow fee. Who is responsible for paying? This is typically paid by each to pay their own. So seller pays their own escrow fee, and the buyers will pay their own escrow fee. Escrow holder is typically seller's choice, so the sellers choose who's going to be the escrow company. Next item is owner's title insurance policy, typically paid for by the seller, and the title company is, once again, seller's choice. The sellers choose a title company for the transaction. The next item is county transfer tax fees, paid for by the seller. Next item, city transfer tax fees, paid for by the seller. The next one is HOA fee for preparing disclosures. Seller paid for that. Next item is HOA transfer fees, typically paid for by the seller. Next item, private transfer fees, paid for by the seller. The next item is home warranty plan chosen by buyer. Then you have the option to check for buyer or seller or both to pay for it. Typically, I have the sellers pay for it. So home warranty is just pretty much when you buy the house, guys, you have a plan 1 year typically after you buy the home, where if any issues come up, you will have repair coverage after you move in for a set time frame based on the warranty plan that you go with. And that wraps up the offer contract, guys. Hopefully this video was helpful and useful, and everything was clear enough for you guys to grasp and understand. If there is any questions throughout this video that you saw in this offer contract that you would like me to clarify a little bit more, please feel free to drop them in the comments below or contact me at my Instagram at Bryan_Marota, or feel free to text me at 562-484-8138. My name is Bryan Marota. I'm a real estate agent. I help buyers throughout Los Angeles, San Bernardino, and Riverside County. So please feel free to reach out if you have questions or are interested in buying soon. Thank you for watching.